Hello, and welcome to the brief orientation about social work in the workplace and employee assistance subspecialization, formerly the Employee Assistance Program subspecialization. I'm Dr. Jody Jacobson Fry, and I'm the proud chair of this program at the University of Maryland, also a proud alum of both the MSW and PhD program, and I'm happy to introduce you to this unique offering we have for students. As you think about social work in the workplace and employee assistance, it's important to understand that even though this is still an emerging and growing field, we've actually been in existence here at the University of Maryland for 40 years. We most recently changed our name to reflect the more broader experience that students and graduates take on in social work in the workplace, while maintaining our unique emphasis that we have on employee assistance. The field has grown so much globally. Think about the number of years that adults spend in the workplace, the influence of work on working families and communities. There's so much opportunity for social workers to have an influence with working age adults, families, and society overall. We need to understand, however, the full complexity of employment and unemployment and everything in between. And that lends itself for a need for social workers in the workplace from a macro, clinical, and again, everything in between perspective. To learn more about this specialization, you can also visit the website below, and I will walk you through a couple key highlights of our program and career planning. So, what is the role of social workers in the workplace? The role has endless possibilities. In the employee assistance field, we may take on a role of clinician, of coach, advocate, and trainer. In the broader world of work, we may take on not only those roles, but also thinking about roles of managers and advocates. As social workers in the workplace, we confront problems about anything that has the potential to affect work. This can include, but is not limited to, mental health, substance use, family and interpersonal relationships, financial and legal concerns, work and career problems, chronic health conditions, and more macro conditions such as toxic work environments, bullying, harassment, and racism. In order to address these complex problems in the workplace, social workers need to bring their perspective and their skill set to offer innovative, creative, often cutting edge, and solution focused interventions. The need for social workers in the workplace is perhaps even greater now than ever, considering all that's going on in our workplaces globally. There's a need for not only providing assessment and short term counseling, but also thinking about work life integration, strategic crisis intervention and management and organizational consultation and assessment. Social workers are valued contributors of diverse workplaces and professional organizations. So, as the only university program in the country with a strong focus on preparing graduates to go into the employee assistance and related social work in the workplace fields, we attract students from all over the world. Our graduates are sought after post graduation for leadership positions, and we prepare you as the behavioral health experts in the workplace by merging theories of clinical practice with behavioral health and business management in an effort to effectively translate social work services into the broader world of work. The subspecialization is currently offered within the larger behavioral health specialization. It does not take any longer than the typical 2 years to complete the program. I'll go through the classes in a minute, but we do offer clinical and macro concentrations. In a clinical concentration, we will focus on preparing graduates for behavioral health clinical work with an additional emphasis on employee assistance, workplace mental health, and integrated behavioral health in the workplace. This usually looks like assessment, short term counseling, referral, training, and other more preventative and early intervention direct practices in the workplace. We also offer students a macro concentration track. The focus will be on behavioral health and social work in the workplace leadership, management, and policies. Again, focusing on supporting workplaces and working families. As I mentioned, it does not take extra time to complete the subspecialization, but you will want to plan ahead. There are three key courses that make up our subspecialization in social work in the workplace and employee assistance. So you will follow the behavioral health track, and as a clinical or clinical macro student, you will take Social Work 725 as your advanced policy class on work and well being. You will take Social Work 736, which is a macro course taught in the fall on administering employee assistance programs, and Social Work Clinical 705, which is addictive behavior patterns. As a macro student, you are not required to take addictive behavior patterns. However, it is strongly recommended given the strong emphasis that social workers in the workplace place on behavioral health, including mental health, substance use, and also chronic health conditions. There are so many field opportunities for this subspecialization, and I'm constantly working within the field and leaders throughout the country to develop and create new opportunities for our students. As a subspecializer, you will select an EAP placement or otherwise approved behavioral health placement focusing on adults. Here are just a selection of some of the placements our students are interning. There's federal opportunities at the U.S. House of Representatives and U.S. Senate, a health and medical system like the University of Maryland Medical System or Johns Hopkins, local government, Baltimore City EAP and Arlington County, school systems, where again the focus will be on teachers, staff, and administration, Baltimore County Public Schools and Montgomery County Public Schools, private workplaces such as BHS, formerly Business Health Services, and Focus Solutions, and other clinical and macro behavioral health settings approved by myself in conjunction with you and the Office of Field Education to meet your field needs. So for students that are interested in the BWise Scholarship Program or working at the VA or other inpatient and outpatient and forensic settings, speak to me about your interests and most likely we can make it work. The next two slides highlight some of our alumni from the subspecialization. And the main point here is to show you that the future is bright. There are endless opportunities for our graduates in the world of work. At the top, you can see Tanya Bryant Nickens, who is a graduate from 2008, currently working as an EAP on site to do at a federal agency, in addition to having her own private practice with a focus on crisis intervention. In the bottom corner, we can see Emma Frudenfelder, a recent graduate from 2018, who's been focusing her work at WMATA, the Washington Metropolitan Area Transit Authority, where she also did her internship, and recently relocated to Colorado, where she was able to quickly access and get a job in her peer assistance program for the medical field due to her EAP specialization. On this slide, you can see Ramonte Crowder, a graduate from 2016, also working at WMATA, in addition to his own dedication counseling private practice program. Most recent graduate, Maggie Glass, MSW 2020, is a macro student graduate who has currently landed a job at BHS, formerly Business Health Services, a national EAP work-life provider in the US. And finally, Jaleesa Hillocks, MSW from 2019, has recently gotten a job as an EAP associate with the National Institutes of Health, where she has a strong focus on race, privilege, and mental health in order to not only provide individual support and resilience for working adults and families, but affecting the entire organization over at NIH. I hope this brief introduction to the subspecialization of social work in the workplace and employee assistance piqued your interest to learn more. In order to talk about your unique interests and learning goals, as well as your field placement selections, please contact me at the email on this slide to set up a one-on-one advising session. We'll spend about 30 minutes talking about the skills you're bringing in and what you want to get out of the program and how you can really make the most of your limited time here at the School of Social Work to not only have a behavioral health specialization, but also to add the social work in the workplace subspecialization. There's a couple websites here, including my website at the school, as well as the Employee Assistance Archive, the Employee Assistance Professional Association, and the Work Family Research Network as websites where you can learn more not only about the field, but also unique career opportunities. And I'd just like to close with a quote from J Balvin: "When you do what you love, it's not work anymore." I can honestly say that second to my job here as a professor at the University of Maryland, there was no job that I loved more than providing services to working age adults, families, and their employers as an EAP and work life specialist. So I hope that you'll give me a call, send me an email so that we can talk more about your interests and introduce you to the field. Thank you. As you think about social work in the workplace and employee assistance, it's important to understand that even though this is still an emerging and growing field, we've actually been in existence here at the University of Maryland for 40 years. We most recently changed our name to reflect the more broader experience that students and graduates take on in social work in the workplace, while maintaining our unique emphasis that we have on employee assistance. The field has grown so much globally. Think about the number of years that adults spend in the workplace, the influence of work on working families and communities. There's so much opportunity for social workers to have an influence with working age adults, families, and society overall. We need to understand, however, the full complexity of employment and unemployment and everything in between. And that lends itself for a need for social workers in the workplace from a macro, clinical, and again, everything in between perspective. To learn more about this specialization, you can also visit the website below, and I will walk you through a couple key highlights of our program and career planning.